today you are going to learn the imperfect. You should have your imperfect graphic organizer with you. El imperfecto. There are two verb tenses in the past tense in Spanish. One is the preterite that you've learned. The other one is the imperfect. Here are the conjugations or the verb endings for the AR ending verbs in the imperfect. So make sure you write these down on your organizer in the AR section. It's aba, abas, aba, abamos, abais, aban are the endings to form the imperfect tense, another past tense in Spanish. And then the ER-IR endings are ia, ias, ia, iamos, iais, ian. Now pay attention to the ARs where we have an accent mark in the nosotros form this time. ER-IRs, there's accent marks over all of the I's. We're just going to be focusing on the imperfect tense, and then later on we're going to be comparing the differences between the preterite and the imperfect. The good thing about the imperfect tense is there's only tres irregulares. There's only three irregulars compared to juvie and all the cargar and zars and things. So we are just in the imperfect tense. So the only three irregulars are ir, ser, and ver. Now you have to remember that we're in a different tense now. So no cargar and zar apply, juvie doesn't apply. Every tense has its own rules. And this one is everything is regular except for ir, ser, and ver. So make sure you write these down. And ir and ser have accent marks in the nosotros from íbamos and éramos. And then ver en todas las formas. So ir is iba, ibas, iba, ibamos, ibais, iban. Ser, era, eras, era. Erramos, errais, eran. Ver, veía, veías, veía. Veíamos, veíais, veían. Now we're going to talk about how do you use this? What's the difference? ¿Cómo se usa? So at the bottom, description. You're going to write this down in the box that says description. There is no action. So when you are describing something in the past tense and there is no action, you use the imperfect tense. Ella era muy bonita. She was very pretty. Age. Ella tenía 16 años. No action, you're just describing her age. Time. Eran las 12. It was 12 o'clock. No action, just a description. Weather. Hacía calor. Again, it's a description. So that's the easiest way. If you see something being described in the past tense, then you know you have to use the imperfect and not the preterite. Another thing is physical, emotional, and mental states and desires. Two examples. Paco estaba triste ayer. Paco was sad yesterday. That's how he was feeling. Quería jugar con sus amigos. She wanted to play with her friends. Okay, that is an emotional or mental state. Also remember that quiso in the preterite means, do you remember what quiso means? It means tried to. It doesn't mean wanted. So the different uses. Next, we go to continuous action, wasing or weren't. Ella caminaba por el parque. She was walking through the park. So if you can translate something to English or English to Spanish as wasing or weren't, that is the imperfect rather than the preterite. The preterite is she walked to the park and it's done and it's over with, rather than she was walking through the park. Another example. Yo iba a la tienda para comprar jamón. I was going to the store to buy ham. Rather than if you put this in the preterite, yo fui a la tienda para comprar jamón. I went to the store. It's very important, wasn't or weren't. We're going to practice a lot with that. And then the last one, a repeated habitual action, which translates to used to or would in English. Cada verano comíamos en Dairy Queen. We used to eat at Dairy Queen every summer, or we would eat. We would eat. Íbamos a la playa todos los días. We used to go to the beach every day, or we would go. So it's something that's continuous. Rather than the preterite, it would be el verano pasado comimos en Dairy Queen. Last summer, we ate in Dairy Queen. Or fuimos a la playa hace 2 años, right? We went to the beach 2 years ago. And the last thing, keywords before we practice, put this in the middle with siempre. Some keywords are todos los días or cada verano that will tell you that you need to use the imperfect. Los domingos, usualmente, siempre, generalmente, a menudo. Oh, Dios mío, lo siento. Okay, todos los días is every day. You could say that, or if you also want to say every, you could say cada. This one is every summer. So you can interchange with these and say cada día, or you could say todos los veranos as well. Cada viernes, todos los viernes. Los domingos is when you want to say Sundays or Mondays. You wouldn't say en los domingos. You would just say los domingos. Usualmente is usually. Siempre, you should know that, right? That's always. Generalmente is generally. A veces is sometimes. Okay, and a menudo is often. So make sure, because you're going to need to know those. Okay. And then, of course, like I said, you know, generally is a cognate, and usualmente is usually. Okay, van a practicar. What I want you to do now is I want you to practice. Write this on, flip over your sheet and write it on the back. I just want you to, 1 through 4, you just have to conjugate in the imperfect. So it's aba or ia or one of the irregulars. Okay, take off the N and add aba or ia, one of the irregulars. After that, I want you to translate 5 through 9. These are all in the imperfect. Okay? Pause it. Do it. This is very important. Rather than just copying it, pause it, do it, and then check it to see if you understand it. Okay, now that you're back, here are all the answers. It's competía, trabajaba, pedíamos, eran, ella compraba, yo limpiaba, nosotros salíamos, ella era inteligente. It's a description. You would use ser here rather than estar. How you feel and where you are, always use the verb estar. And then ellos veían. Write any questions that you have down, and I'd be happy to answer them tomorrow. Hasta mañana.